Hi, my name is Terry, and I want to talk today, make a very quick video about my ZiptieAI and my AI API sandbox websites. When you go to ZiptieAI, you see this AI API sandbox link, and this is an overview of the AI API sandbox. And if you click on any of these links here, then you go to the wiki, and the wiki is like my working area. So you notice on the right here, this right panel is the basically table of contents of this wiki. And this this picture right here simplifies the parts of the wiki. So the main parts of interest, you have this introduction material, but there are basically two things. There are deployments, which consist of stacks and docs, and then you have my lab notes. And the lab notes are the G drive. A lot of documents on the G drive. But the core part right here are the deployments. But before I start talking about deployments, I want to talk basically about why is it called the AI API sandbox. So it's called a sandbox because it's basically an experiment where I go in and test a whole bunch of different tools. And the original focus is called API. The original focus was to be on APIs, to create basic APIs myself. And then the real focus was to be on the API documents. And this kind of got bigger and bigger. I started focusing more and more on the API ecosystem, which is basically the stacks right here. Then it started becoming more and more of a focus on the API aspect. So as shown here, originally the AI was only supposed to be an assistant, like Copilot, to help. Then it started to become part of the API sandbox documentation deliverable, like a chat window. And I'll discuss these later. And then as part of the development environment. So, so first, talk about the deployments. Um, Here you see deployments. There are stacks and there are documents. Stacks originally meant to be like the complete working environment where you have documents, you have the API. So it's like I build everything myself. So I'm not dependent on anybody else. I build the API, I build the stack, and then I make the documents. And we have stacks like this right here. This is documentation that talks about a stack with the actual URLs that I think you can open right now. And then there were also some of these became only a front end. Like there's a reason for that that I'll get into in a minute. But these are basically the stacks I'm working with. Now the stacks are not the real main focus of this website. The main focus is actually supposed to be the documents. So, and that's over here on the right hand side. And documents are the core intelligence. We're going to be using a lot, I'm going to be using a lot of AI in this project. But AI has no real intelligence. All the intelligence comes from a person. You have to enter that intelligence first. And that is the wiki, this wiki. I love using wiki in all my projects because it's a great way to organize things and redo things 100 times. And then you've got the docx's, which I showed before. I've got hundreds of docx's. These are basically lab notes. And then you've got, for API documents, I almost always have a very, very large Postman collection of my own tests. And then you have websites, you have API documents, then Then here's something new. You have like AI documents chat. And I'll show you what I mean by that is for what I previously showed you was this front end, number 8. It had a React front end. And I moved the back end over here under AI Docs Chat because the back end provides the self-hosted model, everything running on my PC, that answers the requests on the React jobs here. It's actually an AI request, and that runs from the model. So I'm trying to demonstrate, what I'm demonstrating here is how to set this up. I think without a doubt in the future, you're going to have AI documents that have, you take your own core intel, your websites, your API docs, and then you use those, which is what I did here, to get the information into an AI model. And then you use that so your users don't have to actually read your documents. They can actually use a AI chat, just like in ChatGPT. So then another thing is the AI documents reasoning generation. What that means is, to give you an example, this is something I did yesterday. I finally got working. But it's where you take documents, API documents, a Swagger file, you take a docx, anything. You take from that, you use AI to generate documentation about that content. And it actually works quite well. So I took an old API spec and then generated this really well-written text, great grammar, that summarizes that. So the idea here is that eventually you use these AI documents more and more to generate actual end user content. Now again, there's no intelligence in AI. You've got to create the original material, but the AI is really good for extracting things. Yeah. And there's something here I forgot to show about the documents section, the main docs, is I got this text here in black from asking ChatGPT about API docs. And that's what I based a lot of this from. It shows you how useful this AI is. So, and I've already talked about generating reasoning generation, websites, Swagger, chat, all this stuff, core content. But now the last thing is test and maintenance. And that is right here, which I don't have anything, but that's a future. The idea is using AI to actually maintain your documents. And what's interesting to me is using AI to figure out where the documentation needs to be updated. There was also another aspect here that I forgot to talk about before, but it's about templates. And templates is really kind of I use it all the time in AI anyway, making websites. I just tell Copilot, format this website in a professional format. This AI can now do a lot of your templates so you don't have to mess around with all this formatting, at least at the beginning. Yeah, so I want to keep this video under 10 minutes, but the last part here, originally the sandbox lab notes, this is where I spent most of my time the first several months, was supposed to be the focus of this website, the sandbox website at first. Now it's just the lab notes. But that's where, in any project I go into, it takes me a while to figure out the product, and I have a lot of lab notes. They're very important, but now they're kind of secondary. They're not really a part of the deliverable. And that's it. I wanted to get under 10 minutes intro to this sandbox website. Not very polished, but this is my second try at a video. At this point, the website has stabilized pretty much the content, and now it's time to build things out. Oh yeah, thanks for watching.